Okay, so now we're going to create our new folder called mod, and inside of this folder we're going to create a file called raw.php. Now that we are in the raw.php, we start with the opening PHP tag. First thing we're going to do, we create the tbl variable and we check if isn't empty, get tbl, then we're going to get the value from it, otherwise it's going to be 0. Then we're going to create the variable called name, and very similar situation, only this time we're going to be using post, and I'm going to explain the difference in just a second. And we're obviously not going to be looking for tbl, we're going to be looking at name, and rather than 0, if there is no value, we're going to use non-breakable space character. We copy this line now, and we're going to paste it twice underneath. Next one will be price, which is next field inside of our form, and then it was quantity, so qty and qty. All these three variables, both variables, will be collected from this form by using this serialize array function. Now what's happening here, we're using post method, which basically sends the request to the specific URL using post. So obviously we're passing tbl using get, because we're passing this within URL, and obviously the rest of these fields are sent by post. That's why we're using post for fields and get for tbl variable. Okay, so now we've got these variables ready. First thing to do will be to define a new variable called raw, and we're going to start with tr. This is where we actually are creating the new raw dot equal to concatenate td, and then we're concatenating with our name variable. So first table cell will have a name. If we copy this line, then we have two other, which will be price. Then we're going to have quantity. Before price, we want to put the currency symbol, so it's going to be pound. In my case, you're going to have dollars or any other currency. You obviously put it in the right place. Then we have quantity, which is all fine. Then we have raw again equals. Then we have td, and we start with href with a hash symbol class remove. Then we have rel equals, and it's going to be index, but index is something we're going to create later. Then remove, and then closing a tag and closing td tag. Now if I close this file browser on the left, it's going to look a little bit better, so you can see a bit more here. Okay, and right at the end we need to create another raw concatenating with the closing tr tag. Okay, now index, for the time being, we'll simply put index equals 1. We work with this later on, but for the time being, let's keep it just 1. Okay, if we go a little bit lower, now we're going to check if empty tbl, then we're going to do something else. If tbl variable is empty, that means that the table hasn't been found on the page. That means there's no record so far. So we're going to start with the out variable, and we start with creating table with cell padding equals 0, cell spacing equals 0, border equals 0 as well, and class tbl repeat. And then we close our table tag. Okay, actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to split it in half. Out, and we continue here. Okay, just so we can actually see it better. Then out, concatenation again. We start with tr, which is basically what we can do with this. We can copy all this And let's replace this raw with out. This one obviously needs dot here to concatenate. To make it a little bit quicker. Now TD here will be changed to TH in all of these cases, closing and opening ones. Okay, we can remove this A tag. Only remove keyword needs to stay there. Then for quantity, we will simply have QTY. For price, we remove the pound symbol as well. It's going to be just price. And for the first one will be product name. Okay, a few classes that we're going to apply here as well. For the second cell, we're going to have class call one_1 and TAR. These classes are all defined within the CSS file which you've downloaded with the exercise files. Basically, this first one says that this column should be 1% on white only, and this one says text align right, so align the text to the right. And the same thing for the next cell for quantity, and the same for the remove. Now if we scroll up, I've also should have done this for this raw variable here. So the name stays as it is. The price will only have TAR, and then we have quantity as well, TAR, and remove here with TAR as well. We can actually close this one with the index, row, and concatenate this here so that we can see code a little bit better. Okay, so we've got our first row. Now we'll continue with out dot equal raw, because we still want this content here to be added to this table, obviously, when we add the first record. So we've got table, beginning of the table, we have the headings, and then we have our first record. And then at the end, we're going to add out dot equal closing table tag, and right at the end, we'll replace the row with our newly generated output. So we've got raw equals out. Now we're nearly ready. The last thing we have to do is echo our JSON array. So a JSON encode array, and the key will be raw, and the value will be our raw variable. So our file is nearly ready. We will do a few amendments later on, but let's test it in the browser. So if we go back, refresh our page, let's put some product details. Product 1, let's say, price 2, quantity 5. If we click on add new, you can see our table appeared with our product here, price and quantity. So it seems to be working. If we click again, let's change the product 1 to product 2. Let's change the price to 3 and quantity 10, add new, and it's adding to the table. But now if we refresh the page, everything's going to be gone because it's not saving anything. It's not even using sessions, which I said we will be using. So in the next video, we're going to have a look at how to save all this information to the session.